Hey everybody, it's Jose Laya. We hope you're doing well. So the first quarter of 2025 is in the books for the real estate market. And today we're going to be looking at the condo market in Brickell, which is one of the most popular neighborhoods in all of Miami, especially for condos, and a neighborhood that I like to call the mini Manhattan. Due to all the condo buildings, office towers, restaurants, shopping, transportation options, all pretty much in a small and dense area. Since the beginning of this year, we've started to do our market updates focusing on each neighborhood as a single video to allow you to really hone in on the neighborhood of your choice. Whether you currently live there and want to see how the market is doing or are considering buying there, we want to be able to put the information in your hands in a quick and easy way. We are also taking a look at a lot more data to be able to give you more details and information as to how the market is doing. We're also going to give you a breakdown of all the sales data, including active listings for sale, closed sales. We're also going to dive a bit deeper to see what price range most of this activity is taking place in. And then we'll wrap things up with our market summary. We have a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. So here's our first graph. And what we wanted to put up was basically the first 3 months of the year, which is the first quarter, to show active sales, closed sales, months of supply, days on market, median price per square foot, and median price sold. We want to see if we can spot any trends here. And something that sticks out is look at the number of active listings from January to February. Huge increase from 850 to 1,146. That's a huge increase. March, pretty much the same number as February. You know, the numbers here that we see, it's giving us mixed signals. We see active listings increase dramatically, while closed sales increased slightly. Months of supply is the same, 18 months. That means that if there were no other active listings come on the market, it would take 18 months to sell these 1,144 active listings. 18 months is 1.5 years. That's a long time. So just to give you some context, a balanced market or a normal market is considered to have anywhere from 6 to 9 months of supply. Anything a lot over than that, it really then favors a buyer's market in this neighborhood. So as we can see, 18 months, that's quite a bit. The interesting part is that look at February to March, the days on market actually decreased dramatically. It went from 88 days to only 64 days. The price per square foot went a little bit higher, while the median price sold decreased slightly from 680 to 640. So again, some mixed signals here. Typically when we see that many active listings increase from month over month, we typically don't see the days on market go down. So that's pretty mixed signals here that we could see. Obviously not good that the number of actives has increased dramatically and the closed sales increased just slightly. That's not a good sign. So now let's jump into the next graph that's going to show us what price range all this activity is taking place in. Let's take a look at that now. Okay, so here are the details of the first quarter of 2025 for the Brickell Condo market. We ended the quarter with 1,144 active listings for sale. That's a lot. Only 192 closed sales for the quarter. That gives us about 18 months of supply, which is a year and a half, which, as we indicated, a balanced market is about 6 to 9 months. And this is double that. So things not looking good as far as active listings relative to months of supply and closed sales. Now, the price range, the reason we put this up is we want to see what price range most of the activity is taking place in. And look at this. Right off the bat, you could see that from $1 million and under, that's where most of the activity is. Look at the actives. Out of 1,144, 825 active listings are at $1 million and less. Out of the 192 closed sales, 143 occurred between $1 million and under. So this clearly indicates to us that most of the market in Brickell takes place between the $1 million and under mark. Let's look at the next price range, which is 1 to 3 million. That has 269 active listings with 46 closed sales for this quarter. And we can go, pretty much across the board, 3 to 5 million. There's only 30 active listings, only 2 closed sales. And really we could see that the Brickell market above 5 million, there's not much inventory for sale. And there's also not that many closed sales. So we can pretty much see with this, which is why we like to put it up, that the Brickell condo market between $0 and $5 million, that makes up, I'd say, about 95% of the market, not only for actives, but also for closed sales. This is just to give you guys some guidance as to what to expect in the neighborhood. Now, we'll say one thing. For buyers looking for condos in Brickell, you definitely have a lot of inventory. I mean, 1,144, to choose from. However, as we've always said with condos, it's really building specific. So you have to go building by building. You could literally have one building that has 30 or 40 active listings for sale, and then the one next door may have 0 or very few. So it's really, building specific. However, with over 1,000 active listings in such a small, dense area, buyers, we can pretty much tell you that this is going to favor you. So you can be patient with your search, and you could negotiate on your once you find a condo that you truly like, given the fact that there's so many active listings for sale. If you're a seller in the Brickell market, you have to be very careful when pricing your condo for sale, as there's a lot of inventory. And even though there is activity at under $1 million, it just isn't enough given the high levels of inventory. If you're in the upper price ranges above $3 million, there's very little sales activity. So please take note. When we see a market like this, we like to suggest to sellers to price your condo a bit below the market to be able to attract the most attention possible right when you list and right when it comes on the market. Especially with all the economic headwinds in the world right now, you don't want to sit on the market with all this inventory and more coming on every day. With all of that said, let's now jump into our market summary. So in summary, we can clearly see that right now the condo market in Brickell, it's a very strong buyer's market. There's a ton of active listings for sale, while sales has just not kept up. While most of the activity is taking place below the $3 million mark, there's just too much inventory to sort through, with more and more listings coming online every day, which will slow the market down. A big area of concern is for those listings above $3 million, as not only is there very little closed sales activity above this mark, but it's also coming online at a really bad time, as we're now dealing with a very volatile and unstable global stock market, and interest rates fluctuate on a daily basis due to all this talk about the trade wars regarding tariffs, which we feel will negatively impact the real estate market in our April sales numbers and in the coming months as well. We're going to have to keep a really close eye on this, as these are all very serious headwinds that the real estate market in general is facing right now and in the coming months, and maybe even for the rest of this year. So stay tuned. Okay. One other word of caution is for the older buildings in Brickell, which we do find a lot of them, especially on the southern end, as most of those towers were built in the 70s and 80s. There's a lot of negative press regarding older buildings, especially due to the strict rules and regulations passed, including the structural integrity reserve study and the 30 and 40 year recertification of buildings, which has caused huge increase in maintenance fees, forced special assessments on condo owners. If you need to sell and you're in an older building, understand that right now it is a tough environment. You will more than likely have to sell at a price less than what you had planned, and it will require patience to sell, as a lot of buyers are staying away from these older buildings for obvious reasons, but also due to the fact that getting a loan is very challenging when trying to buy in one of these buildings, as lenders are also becoming very cautious and trying not to give out loans in these buildings, mainly because insurance companies will not insure the building and or the condo when making a purchase. So it's going to be a tough challenge to sell your unit. We strongly advise to make sure that you work with a professional that can guide you through this process, as it's going to be very challenging. Well, that's our first quarter market update for the Brickell Condo market of 2025. I am Jose Laya. I was born and raised right here in Miami. And as I start my 19th year in the real estate market, I can proudly say that our goal in making these videos is to provide you with value and help as many people as we can by sharing real market data to give you a better insight into the local market. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.